Welcome to Project Overwhelm. I have been a little bit off the ball with the allotment, just a tiny bit, not loads, just a little bit. And basically, it's starting to show a little bit, I think. I've got some stuff that I've been banging on about for probably about 3 or 4 weeks that I need to get in the ground, and that's still not in there. They're still in little cell trays and I need to get them in. So I've been trying to make a little bit of space, and then other stuff's getting in the way, and Jodie's done her back in. She hasn't been very well, so we've had to been going backwards and forwards to the hospital a little bit, trying to get that sorted out. So the plants have took a tiny little bit of a backseat. I'm looking around in some of the beds, a lot of the beds need weeding, and this is the classic point of when you have an allotment, when you go, it's been really dry, all the water butts are empty. Some of the beds need weeding. Some of the stuff that I'd have already done by now, I haven't managed to get round to doing. Some of the stuff that I need to put in is going in a little bit later than what I could have ideally done with putting it in. Yeah, I've got some of the stuff that's in the containers that you can tell needed a bit more water, or probably wanted a little bit more water. And yeah, I just haven't been able to give as much time as what I really needed to give, or at least little snippets of time to kind of keep on top of the stuff. Other stuff's took priority, and I've had to jump in and do some of that. So I've got a day off today, which doesn't happen very often. I say a day off, I've spent the whole morning on the phone. So it's now like knocking hole in 1 o'clock. And I've got a little bit of time before I've got to go and look at a job tonight. So I'm going to, well, in all honesty, I don't know what I'm going to do first. I mean, that's that sort of stage. I do need to get some stuff in the ground, but the stuff that some of the brassica stuff that I need to put down needs to be covered over. So that ends up being a little bit more work than just, I don't know, poking an hole with the dibber and dropping them in. And not only that, I haven't got like a solid clear bed that I can say, right, that's where I'm putting them. I've kind of got to do a couple of half beds. I'm probably going to interplant some stuff in between crops that are already in, that are going to be finishing in maybe a month or so that when they're done and I take them out, there's already something in the ground there, and they've already had the chance to get established a little bit. So yeah, obviously Jodie's not here, so I'm going to do the videos on my own, so obviously it takes a bit more time when you're messing about with a camera and stuff as well. So welcome to real life, eh? So yeah, I'm going to try and get some stuff in. I'm not going to say what I'm going to do, because in all honesty I'm not too sure what order I'm going to do it in. Like I said, I've got some stuff that I need to put in. I've got some stuff that needs to come out, and I've got some weeding that needs doing. I need to fill up the water. Greenhouse probably could do with a really good water. So yeah, we'll get stuck in and we'll see how I'll say stuck in. I'm going to mosey in and see how we go. Okie dokie then. I'll give you a little brief run through of what I mean by I've got the stuff's got a little bit on top of where I'd normally like to be. I mean, for a lot of people this would probably be like, what you're moaning about, it's not too bad. So obviously I've got this new strawberry bed that I put in this season, and the onions in between, which have all flopped over. They're ready to come out really, but obviously you can see the little orange flowers all the way through the middle. They're all weeds, and I've got some what have I got? I don't know, there's some like forget-me-nots and stuff. There's basically a fair bit of weed in here, so obviously I need to weed that bed. Then I've got in between here, these need weeding out. I like to try and keep on top of the weeds, because if you keep on top of them when they're small, it's not such a bad job. When they get, there's quite a lot of them, it turns into a little bit of an headache. So yeah, so I need to weed that bed. This bed is where I just put all the stragglers, and they're all rooted and happy, and they're sending out loads of runners. So I could potentially do with, if I'm going to pot up some more strawberry plants so I can gift out to people, I could do with potting some of them into pots. I've got the rhubarb, rhubarb, for people that don't know, likes lots of water, likes like really quite damp conditions. So obviously this year we haven't had hardly any rain at all, so you know, it's struggled a little bit, but it's hanging in there, but the bed needs a little bit of a tidy up. Like I said, it's a bit weedy on the end. I've got a thornless blackberry there where the canes have obviously rotted off in the bucket or in the wind or whatever. It's got a bit top heavy and snapped and fell over, so I need to do something with that. I've got all these berries that are starting to come good, all these blueberries that are in here. They all need obviously picking. I need to cut these ones I've got in the containers, the summer fruiting canes that have already fruited. I need to obviously trim them out and let the new ones come through. I have done that one bucket just when I was here messing around the one night. I've took out the raspberries that was all here, which I'm going to probably turn into a path and have a designated area for some potatoes. So I've got to get rid of all the raspberry canes that I've took out of there that need to get burned. These are not looking too bad. These are the thornless blackberries. So again, some of them are going a little bit over because they haven't been picked, so they need picking and probably watering. The main crop potatoes, I've got to be honest, I think they're ready. I think I'm just gonna, I'm half tempted to just cut all the foliage off now and call them done. But again, that's another thing, I haven't been kept up with the watering maybe as much as I should have, or maybe they're just ready and they're dying back a little bit. I've got this tayberry bush here, which I am going to take out because I think he's a little bit past his best, and I've already got a new bush over the other side that's doing loads better. I have got beans to pick from there. I've got I mean, I'll put the strawberries down here. These all need watering. You can see they're all wilting over, a little bit sad. They ain't going to die because they're like a flipping weed, but yeah, they need sorting out. I took all the summer canes which I took out now, they're all dried. I'm going to put them in a pile because they're going to go in the fire bucket. What else have we got? I've got the autumn raspberries that are coming through. They need some sort of support putting in. So yeah, obviously the support is the job that I need to do with them. Same with these ones. What else have we got to do? These beds are not looking too bad. These are the ones I want to plant out some of the stuff in. All the lettuce is coming on quite nice as a plus point. This is one that I've already sort of finished and I've put in my stuff ready for the winter. I'm a little bit torn with this one because I've cut the main heads of broccoli off, and you do get a little bit of a second flush of almost like a sprouting broccoli once they're done. However, I could probably do with a space, so I'm half tempted to I have got some more broccoli to go in as well, which are yeah, in like little cells ready to go in, so I'm half tempted to just take all of these out and sacrifice that little second flush and get some more stuff in the ground because I need this space. The cauliflower, yeah, they haven't been very good. Like I said, I've never really grown cauliflower before. They all seem to be I mean, there is a little cauliflower in there, but they haven't seemed to have done very well, and these now look like, I don't know if you can see that one. It looks like he's I don't know, starting to flower maybe, so I might take them out so that they're out and put the salad in that bed. My strawberries, which was the main strawberry bed from last year, what I normally do is as soon as they're fruited, which I've done with this first little run, but I was a bit aggressive with them, so I just wanted to see how well they coped with it. But normally I'll literally grab the plant and I'll just cut all the leaves off down to the ground, and that gives me a chance to get in the bed then and obviously weed all the bed, put some compost down. I mean, I did these like maybe a month ago, 3 weeks maybe, so I cut them literally down to absolutely nothing, thinned some of the crowns out so it's down to a crown or 2 crowns, because they've multiplied a little bit there. And yeah, and these are the ones that need doing, so I need to do that really because it gives me a chance to tidy up the bed, and it also gives me space in between the plants because obviously they're not going to be ready till next year to do anything. It gives me some space in between the plants then to maybe interplant with some lettuce and get a little bit of I don't know, a use out of some of the space that is not going to produce a crop basically. So yeah, I need to thin all of those out. I can interplant some stuff in there then, so I've got the chance of another crops, which is always a good thing. I've got the sweet corn, which is looking really good actually. Obviously there's some weeds in between, so that's one of the spaces I'm half tempted to weed all the weeds out, and then maybe interplant some lettuce in between, so when they're finished I'll cut the sweet corn off, chuck down the bottom, and yeah, leave the lettuce in. What else have we got to do? I've got the sweet peas that I desperately need to come out. They've gone well over now, so they're finished. I've got the Cosmos twins that are definitely not identical twins. I've got this one that's obviously just a bit more of a light bloomer, which I don't really have a problem with. And then this one's looking like it needs some serious deadheading going on. I've got the carrot hedge, which hasn't been thinned out, and it's got some weeds coming up in between, which I'd like to get out. So that needs to be done. So yeah, there's a fair bit to go at, and that's on top of watering everything and harvesting some of the bits that need harvesting. So it's what I'm up against. I don't really have the energy for it, if I'm being totally honest, but needs must. So time to do some David Goggins and stop being a bitch about it and just get stuck in. So here we go. Neglect this is. Look at these, how dry that is in there. Bring it back to life. hoops done. I've planted out as much as I can get it ready in that bed, and I've obviously put the hoops over the top of it to keep the bugs out. I have planted, I've got the first 2 little rows here and here is swede. So my idea is I want some for Christmas dinner for carrot and swede mash. Then I've dropped in a couple of kale plants in the middle, and then I've got a little row here just of broccoli. And then I've interplanted in between the lettuce some purple sprouting broccoli. So my idea is once all the lettuce is done and dusted, which will be towards the end of the year, the purple sprouting broccoli can carry on, the kale can carry on, the broccoli I'm hoping is going to be harvested in the autumn towards the end of the year, but I'm not sure the swede will be quite ready, but that can stay in the ground I think, and yeah, running through the winter. So I'm hoping that this bed and the one behind it there have both got some stuff in that once I've harvested everything they can carry on. So I'm going to crack on. I've got a couple of little bits left that I want to finish. I'm probably going to take this courgette plant out here, and I'm going to clear obviously the sweet peas behind to make a little bit more space, but I'm low on battery, so I thought I'd fill you in, call this the end, and if I've got some battery left I'll take a picture of what I've got up to before I go home. Ta-da! Okay then, so to conclude, that was the bed that I've just finished off. Obviously you've seen me do. I've actually got a little bit more done than I was hoping to do. I've actually put some more hoops in, planted my broccoli out and some kale into this little half bed. This one, yeah, cleared the courgette plant from the corner, so just to make a little bit of room, being as we've got courgette, like quite a few courgette plants, so I could quite easily lose one. So yeah, I did that and I planted those out. I also pruned back some of the vines, and I just moved, see we've got a pumpkin there and there's another one just underneath, crown prince squash. So I've just shunted them over a little bit, just like I said, to make a little bit more space, and I've pruned some of the vine back just to, yeah, give me a little bit more room. I've took out the sweet peas which were there, and I've hoed the surface off ready to be have a little bit of compost maybe put down, and something else planted in the gap. While I was there, I hoed all the weeds out in between the sweet corn, and I gave that a really good water. And then, looks a little bit drastic, but there's the strawberry bed now. So I've basically bunched all the plant together, cut the top off, and then where it obviously the crowns obviously divide, which is where the plants come from, I've thinned them down to 1 or 2 crowns, because like I said, I'm trialing something where like this year was noticeable on the new plants that I put in. There was less strawberries, but they were bigger, and these ones that were in last year, which have obviously divided up a little bit, and they've obviously produced more crowns on the bottom. There was a lot more strawberries, but there was a lot of smaller ones. So it looks really ruthless, but I've thinned them right out to next to nothing. So hopefully there'll be less crowns and I'll have bigger strawberries next year. That's the plan. But I've never done that before, thin the crowns out. I always cut all the foliage back. Like I said, I cut all this foliage back and it looked just like these ones, and that was like 3 or 4 weeks ago at the most. So yeah, it looks drastic when you do it and you're a little bit worried you're going to kill the plant, but strawberries are pretty ruthless. So yeah, what else did I do? Oh, and Thai berries, which are on the frames at the back there. A lot of the side shoots, being as I've cut the I've trained up the new growth onto the cane. Since I did that and I trimmed back the rest of the plant, all the side shoots have gone a bit banana, so I thinned some of those back a tiny little bit so I could actually get in there. And what else? I think that was it, wasn't it? That was it. So sorry if the camera's a bit all over the place. I am walking around looking up in the sky. So yeah, so that's it. So that's the video done and dusted. Like I said, I got a little bit more done than I wanted to, and I'm planning on coming up here the weekend to pick up where I left off, like I said, just to try and get on top of some of the stuff that I've probably should have already got on top of. So yeah, that's the progress so far, and I'll see you next week. See ya.